What's up, y'all? I'm back. I've been getting some nice feedback from you guys, so it inspires me to post more videos. So that's what I'm doing now. Now, last time we talked about 16th note fill, so I want to follow up on some of that and get a little bit more advanced. Alright, so just to review, this is what we did last time. We counted 16th notes, you always count, that's the name of the game with me. We counted 16th notes, and we played a 16th note groove. What that means is our right hand is playing the hi-hat on 16th notes. Alright, so we played a 16th note groove, and then we talked about phrasing too. We played 4 measures, otherwise known as a 4-measure phrase. So on the 4th measure, we did our fill, leading into the 1 of the new 4-measure phrase. Because as a drummer, that's what the purpose is of a fill. We're a loud instrument, so we can build excitement within the song to lead into a new section. So let's just demonstrate what we did before. Again, I have my play blocks as my toms. I have my magazine as my snare drum, slappy sound, and my criminal justice book as the hi-hat. So here we go. Count 16th notes, 16th note groove. On the 4th measure, we play 1 measure of 16th notes around the drums back into our beat. Just like this. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 3rd measure, 2E and a 3. Here comes the fill, 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2. Okay? Back to the groove. Do that over and over. Now, just so you know, you can practice that a little faster when you get the hang of it. But also, I really want to stress that you don't need to always play a full measure fill. That can be kind of excessive. Actually, it's usually excessive. I'm just doing it now so we can understand the fill because we know where a measure starts and where it ends. So what you want to do, after you get that all straight, is play the same 4-measure fill, 4-measure phrase. But just to make things go quicker, let's play a 2-measure phrase. So I'm going to play 1 measure of the beat, and then I'm going to play the fill. But now, I'm only going to fill on 2 of the beats, okay? I'm going to start my 16th note fill on 3, and I'm going to play 16th notes on 3E and 4E and. And now you can choose different drums on which to play this fill. So I'll start by going maybe 3E and 4E and back to 1. So again, it's a 2-measure phrase, same beat. We're only filling for 2 whole quarter notes, which equals 8 16th notes. I think I have that right. That's right. So here we go. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E. Second measure, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and. Remember, it's only a 2-measure phrase. 4E and here we go again. 1 and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. So see that? You can mix it up. You can play those 8 16th notes if you're playing a 2-beat fill or whatever it is. 12 16th notes if you're playing a 3-beat fill. You can play them on any of the drums. So have fun with that. Now the next thing I want to talk about is we've been playing a 16th note groove. Now you are going to, in rock music and R&B music, you'll be playing 16th note grooves, but mostly you're going to be playing 8th note grooves. Remember where we keep 8th notes over here on the right hand, with the right hand? So what we want to do now is still count 16th notes, but play an 8th note groove and then do a 16th note fill. Sounds complicated, but it's not really because we know how to count, so we know where everything falls, where everything lines up. So again, I'll do a 4-measure phrase here so you can really see this. And I'll go back to the full measure fill. Now remember, we're counting 16th notes, okay? So if we're counting 16th notes, we're going to be counting 2 notes for every 1 8th note that we play over here. So remember, it goes like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, right? So that's the relationship between the 8th notes and the 16th notes. 4-measure phrase, and I'm going to be playing the same 16th note groove. Here we go. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a second measure and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a third measure, 2E and a 3. Here comes the fill, 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. Back into the beat, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. Okay, so you do that over and over. And what you want to eventually do is speed that up. And again, now I'm going to go back to the two measure phrases. So just two measures, and I'm going to fill on the second measure. So speed it up. Here we go. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 2E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 1. Okay? Now that's a mouthful. I'm already tired. I do work out. It's kind of weird. I'm out of breath. But what you want to do now is evolve to counting eighth notes. So when you count eighth notes, you can go a little faster. You're not so out of breath. But the purpose of counting the 16th notes is the smaller the notes that you count, the more you understand the beat. Okay, the more it's going to settle in. So now we're going to count eighth notes. Now remember, the tough part here is going to be playing the 16th notes, but counting the eighth notes. So to remember the relationship, you're going to play 2 16th notes for every 1 8th note that you count. So it's like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Easy way to remember how to play this fill and count eighth notes is that your right hand is playing along with what you're counting, right? So it's basically playing eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Add the left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. See how my right hand is always lining up with what I'm counting? 3 and 4 and. Right, 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 1. Now when we do this, we can go a little faster. Check it out. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 4 measure phrase. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and here comes the 16th note fill. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. That wasn't that fast. Let's speed it up a little bit. These toms move. That's why you always got to pull them back. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and third measure 3 and 2 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 1. Excuse me. So, you see how it works? Now it really starts to come together, and I'm sure now you're saying, oh wait, I've heard cool stuff like that. I can't believe we're actually here already after like, what is it, eight lessons or something? So what we want to do again, practice these 2 measure phrases, right? 2 measure phrase being you play a measure of the beat, and then in the second measure you play a fill somewhere leading into the one of the next 2 measure phrase. 4 measure phrase being 4 measures total, so on the 4th measure you play the fill somewhere. Now you want to practice starting on different beats. We're counting again so you know where all the different parts of the beats are, so it's not that difficult. So choose a beat. Sometimes a fill can be very effective and it can only be 1 beat long, meaning, you know, if we're playing 16th notes, 4 16th notes. So check it out. I'll play a 2 measure phrase and I'll just fill on beat 4. Watch. Sounds really cool. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just filling on 4. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See how the beat kind of flows with the nice short fill? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Really simple, but really cool. You can start on beat 2. You can start on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and, right? You can choose wherever you want to start the fill. Now the last thing I want to talk about in this lesson, since we're talking about different fills, we've been playing straight 16th notes. Now we've already learned quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. So why don't we mix in some eighth notes with those 16th notes? When you add different notes in the fill, it makes this fill sound better. There's more variety to it, not just straight, consistent notes. So now what we're going to do, let's play a 2-beat fill, meaning 2 quarter notes worth of fill. I'm going to play 2 eighth notes on 3, so 3 and then I'm going to play 4 E and A. And again, I'm just going to count eighth notes. I'm going to play a 2-measure phrase, so 2 measures total, leading into the one of the next 2 measures. So again, 2 eighth notes on 3 and then 4 E and A. Now watch how this sounds. So the fill's going to sound like this. 3 and 4 and 1. 3 and 4 and 1. Pretty cool. Check it out. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and 1. See how cool that is? And you could do that. You could take a whole measure. My last example for this lesson is going to be playing a 1-measure fill, which again might be kind of long. It depends on the type of song and how fast the song is. Usually a whole measure is kind of long, but we're just practicing. So I'm going to do, let's see, I'll start out with 16th notes on 1, then I'll go, I'll play eighth notes on 2 and 3 and then 4 E and, right? So I'm going to be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See that? You can choose whatever drums you want, right? So here again, I'll play it a little bit faster, 4-measure phrase. On the 4th measure, we start this fill. And I'm just going between 16th notes and eighth notes. If you're counting, it should be no sweat. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3rd measure, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now I'll do the same thing. I'll play different drums. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See how cool that is? And now I know I said that was the last thing I was going to play this lesson. I want to cover one more thing. When we come out of a fill, we're setting up a new section usually. Okay, not always, but usually it sets up a new section or a new phrase within that section, right? And we're thinking in 2-measure phrases, 4-measure phrases, or 8-measure phrases, which are groups of that many measures. What we typically do is we have something called a crash cymbal up here. I know you've seen drummers play this thing. It's really loud. It's a small, like cymbals. Those are the metal, shiny things. Okay, I don't know how to describe them. They're high up. They sound like this, psh, right? Or something like that. Now, that typically, you hit that crash on beat 1 to mark the new section. So after you're done with your fill, you want to play the crash. That's why I have this little block up here. It doesn't sound like a crash cymbal, but this is the best I can do, right? We don't have drums. That's the whole purpose here. So after you play a little fill, after you practice these fills, start practicing hitting 1 over here. So basically, instead of playing the hi-hat with your right hand, you're hitting the crash cymbal up here with your right hand, and then try to get back into the beat as soon as possible. If you can't get right back into the beat, it's okay to miss an eighth note over here and start on 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And you can start by practicing just the crashes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash and 2 and 3 and 4. When you get the hang of that, play your phrases with the fills, and then come out with your right hand over here on the crash. Now sometimes there's also a crash over here. When I play my drum set, I like having a crash on the left hand side. Sometimes I crash with my left. And then when I come out over here, I have a crash over here, so I don't have to keep on going, crossing over. It's a little awkward. So again, let me just demonstrate this real quick. I'll play a 2-measure phrase, do the fill, hit the crash. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and crash and 2. See how that works? So we want to get used to hitting the crash. Now, if you play the crash after every 2-measure phrase, that gets really old and your bandmates are going to hate you. So don't do that. That's our lesson. Hopefully it wasn't that long. We learned a bunch about fills and about adding the crash after our fills. Hopefully that helps. Stay tuned. I'll post whenever I can. and I'm glad you're getting something from my lesson.